likely, and Chiefs is one thing. I would say about the Eagles, and the reason I favor Detroit certainly in the NFC is because only two people have done it, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, this century. So it's unlikely that Philly does it again.
I'll be honest. I'm just trying to be respectful to Philly because I doubted them so often, and they were right. They won all of it. I don't think in a league that has Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson on good teams, I really don't think anybody that has a quarterback on a different tier should be the favorite. Doesn't mean they can't, but that, like, just going into the year, if one of the superhero quarterbacks is on a really good team, one of those teams should be the Vegas favorite, but they should definitively do this.
He said the quiet part out loud. To be fair, he wasn't all that quiet about it, but so he's saying that the Eagles are good only out of respect, and I guess to try to not be too much of a hater, but he still believes that the Kansas City Chiefs should be favored next year over the team that literally blew the Kansas City Chiefs just from here to Pluto. Could you imagine if this was reversed? And we don't have to imagine, because we could just see that when the Kansas City Chiefs won, it was, how dare they? How dare anyone ever doubt them? They're the defending Super Bowl champions. They're the defending Super Bowl champions. Of course, this is a disrespect. They should never be underdogs. Unbelievable. Insulting. Maybe it was insulting that the Philadelphia Eagles were underdogs going into this Super Bowl, even though they clearly had the best team. And how do we know that? Because the Philadelphia Eagles dominated the Kansas City Chiefs, like absolutely obliterated them in one of the most dominant wins in Super Bowl history. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Oh, that was a fluke. Oh, okay. Sure. Oh, they also hung 55 points, the most ever in the NFC Championship. Oh, okay. Oh, Jalen Hurts had one of the greatest Super Bowl performances of all time. Oh, okay. The highest CPA ever. Oh, okay. Outdueled Patrick Mahomes in multiple Super Bowls. Oh, okay. I got you. Oh, Saquon Barkley had the best year for a running back in the history of the NFL. Okay. Oh, that defense was absolutely historic and dominant. Oh, okay. They scored the most points throughout the entire playoff run in the history of the NFL playoffs. Oh, okay. I got it. I didn't know. I thought these were just flukes. I didn't know. I thought they just, where they got fortunate. Oh, gee golly, Patrick Mahomes just had a bad game. What are you going to do about it? Okay, sure. And then you hear what he said about Jalen Hurts, essentially. That these other teams, like the Ravens or the Bills, like, I understand why he's saying the Chiefs, because he's, super duper #1 fan. I get it. I mean, I don't, but I do. But to have this season and say that the Bills deserve to be favored. Now, to be fair, if the Bills made, like, awesomely aggressive moves, or the Ravens for that matter, then I could understand. Like, again, like, I'm not going to just say, like, I'm not the type of person that says, oh, the Philadelphia Eagles, they won last year, therefore they're favored this year. That's not how I am. And I ripped Nick for having that take now and all throughout the last season. And better believe that if the Eagles are 2-2 or something like that, or whatever it is, or they could be 8-0, but from my viewpoint, they just don't look as great as I thought they were. I'll probably have takes where I'm like, listen, I'm not doubting the Eagles. I'm hopeful that they can look a little bit better now. But, like, I understand that they're winning games, but it doesn't, I need to see them play higher quality ball to really feel comfortable, thinking that they're et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to just be like, well, they're the defending champions. It's Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not how I operate. And I'm a firm believer in being like, whatever, last year was last year. This year is this year. Which is why I was very comfortable being like, oh, yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't think that they're the best team in the NFL. And people were like, how dare you say that? How dare you? They've won back-to-back Super Bowls. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what they did in 22. That means nothing to me. You all told me that Jalen Hurts lost the Super Bowl in 22 because of the fumble. So then I guess the Kansas City Chiefs were lucky to win that Super Bowl. So then why am I going to use that as a reference point? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. So, but it's just so crazy that based off the information that we have today, that we would say, oh no. Like the Bills, the Ravens, if those superstar quarterbacks are on good teams, even if you don't want to call Jalen Hurts a superstar quarterback, which I'm open to, I am. Like I said, I always try to be as fair as possible. I always try to understand things as conceptually as I possibly can. Like I always talk about, things have to logically make sense. I can understand how someone can get there logically. So that's why that's not the scope of this aspect of this conversation. But you would have to, at the minimum, concede that Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. I don't see how you could not at least concede that he is a great quarterback. If you don't want to say that he's elite, that he's special, that he can carry a team, like we've already had those conversations, so like we're not going to do that in this video. But like, let's just, try your best to be like, okay, I can accept that other people are going to say that he's not elite, that he's not special, that he can't carry the team, etc. But you have to at least admit that he's a great quarterback. Heck, even if we really, really, really want to be elementary right now, that he's a really good quarterback. Because you can't say he's average. He's not average. I mean, like, it's just... So let's just say he's a good quarterback, a really good quarterback who in many games can play great. Those have to be objectively and subjectively true statements. And that he's now on an elite team. Like, you can't take that away either. You can't say that the defense isn't elite. You can't say that Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae, the O-line, like, you can't say that that's not elite. So then a great quarterback on an elite team, like, isn't better than potentially an elite quarterback on like a good team that's like, they're pretty good. They have like not really that good of a defense, but like I guess their O-line is good. Like, huh? And again, you want to know how I know that I'm right? You want to know? Because look what the Bills did against the Chiefs, and look what the Eagles did against the Chiefs. Look what the Ravens did against the Chiefs. Look what the Eagles did against the Chiefs. Look what the Bills did against the Ravens. Look what the Eagles did against the Ravens. Look what the Ravens did against the Commanders. Look what the Eagles did against the Commanders. I could do this all day. We just... man. It's so bizarre to me. It really is. How the Eagles can win. Now, again, if I felt like we continue to have really grounded, honest conversations, I'm totally open. Like, again, like I'm excited for next season, especially because, you'll see me not unless, and it's hard to predict how the season will unfold, because for all I know, the Eagles hit the ground running and they're just dominant. I'm like, yeah, of course we're the best team. But anything shy of that, I'll be like, yeah, I think the Bills are up there. I'll say the same things that I say. Yeah, the Bills are up there, the Chiefs are up there, the Eagles are up there. Because I always say, I put these teams in groups and tiers, and it's not until weeks and weeks and weeks later that, depending on how the season unfolds, I'm more comfortable. Like, earlier on the season, I was like, yeah, I think the Chiefs and the Bills and the Ravens, like just with the AFC. And I had like on the NFC, I'm like, yeah, the Lions and the Eagles. And then as the season unfolded, I'm like, yeah, the Ravens are so inconsistent. I'm more comfortable putting the Bills ahead of the Ravens and the Bills ahead of this team, and it's like things start to kind of clarify a little bit. And sometimes it gets even messier. Sometimes you're kind of like, I have no idea who's better, the Bills or the Ravens. Like, I have no idea. And I'm very comfortable just saying, yeah, I don't care. It's week 16, 17. We're going to the playoffs. I got them both as top tier team. You know, that's what I do. I don't have to back myself in a corner and say that team's better than that team. No idea. And as we saw that game unfold, for instance, that playoff game, like came down to a fumble and a drop 2-point conversion. So it's just like that's how close it is. So anyone who's confident in their answer, it's like, really, you knew Mark Andrews was going to drop a 2-point conversion? That's impressive, bro. That's impressive. So it's just like the confidence that people have downplaying and downgrading the Philadelphia Eagles is kind of insane. If you want to have the take, which I think would be totally acceptable, where you're just like, oh, who's favored to win the Super Bowl? And you're like, listen, man, I get that the Eagles just won the Super Bowl, but listen, the Lions will be a little bit healthier. And I think the Rams, you know, they're a piece away, and the Commanders, and you got the Bills and the Ravens. Like, if you kind of have that more holistic, overall grounded take, then I could totally, again, I can get behind that, you know? But if we're playing in a world of absolutes, and we are going to force ourselves to back ourselves in a corner, which can be fun, and maybe it is a little bit more fun and interesting to do it in February rather than September, October, November, when we're actually watching what happens, then how can you give it up to anyone but the Philadelphia Eagles? How are you going to have the audacity to say, I pick the Chiefs after the Eagles blew them out? That does not make sense. And then that you're even going to say, you're even going to throw the Bills and the Ravens in there for good measure, that they deserve to have better Super Bowl odds. And now think about what he's also saying, because he understands this. He understands that when they're factoring in the Super Bowl odds, they're factoring in who they have to beat. If the Bills know that they have to beat Patrick Mahomes and stuff like that, and we know that he thinks Patrick Mahomes is amazing, and the Chiefs are amazing. He thinks that they should have the number one Super Bowl odds. But then that he would still think that the Bills or Ravens, as long as they're on a good enough team, that they should be favored over the Eagles because they have a better chance than the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, having to go through each other. Like, that's how little respect he actually truly has in his heart for the Philadelphia Eagles, and probably more than anything, Jalen Hurts. This is probably more of a conversation about Jalen Hurts. You know? It's probably because of this right here. I don't know if you guys know this, but all the bigger numbers are on the right. That's Jalen Hurts. And the one number that's less is the turnovers. Patrick Mahomes has more. And as we already know, we can literally subtract like 200 yards from Patrick Mahomes and subtract another 2 touchdowns, because we know garbage points when we know them. Patrick Mahomes was the garbage man in that Super Bowl, baby. He was doing his impression of Dak Prescott. It's pretty impressive. And again, don't give me the nonsense about teams. You guys told me that in 22, 23, 24, this team was amazing. This was going to be, if they beat the Philadelphia Eagles, this was the best team in the history of the NFL, the greatest dynasty ever. So they were going to go undefeated this season. So don't tell me. Don't give me that nonsense that Jalen Hurts is on a stock team and Patrick Mahomes is on a not stock team. Okay. Which is weird. Again, you can't have it both ways. When I tell you, I don't know how good the Kansas City Chiefs are, you can't say, oh, that's ridiculous. This is an amazing team. Then I say, oh yeah, well, Jalen Hurts beat them and they better. Yeah, well, he's got the better team. It's like, you yelled at me all season for saying that that the Chiefs have the better team. You guys can't make up your mind. You can't make up your mind. But what's obvious is that Jalen Hurts is special. If you want to say that he's not elite, fine. If you want to say that he's not, a tier 1 quarterback on Mahomes and Allen, fine. I'm honestly, I'm all okay with that. But there is still clearly a special element to Jalen Hurts. That can't be disputed. His Super Bowl numbers and performances against a great team. The dynasty of the Kansas City Chiefs. Spags' defenses. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Chris Jones, etc., etc., etc. Still balling. Still balling. And again, Jalen Hurts had no defense in that first Super Bowl. And he did not have run support in either of these games. And don't say, oh, well, they sold out to stop the run. They actually didn't. They actually didn't. That's not how that game unfolded. They did not stack the box, etc., etc., etc. Jalen Hurts just simply balled. Patrick Mahomes simply did not. Jalen Hurts was able to attack the Kansas City Chiefs defense. Patrick Mahomes was not. Jalen Hurts dealt better with the pressure. Patrick Mahomes simply did not. Don't just tell me that it was because of the O-line, because Jalen Hurts was pressured 10 and he was only sacked 20 or 2 times, which had a pressure to sack percentage of 20. Patrick Mahomes had a 35.3. So 7 more pressures led to an additional 4 more sacks. 15.3% higher of a pressure to sack percentage, which this is on the quarterback. This is on the quarterback. And Jalen Hurts thrived. Jalen Hurts scrambled, broke the record, and has the most rushing yards in NFL history in a Super Bowl for a quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, not so much. So yeah, Jalen Hurts deserves some respect. And he did that against the second best defense in the NFL. You know, the defense that everyone said was going to crush the Philadelphia Eagles. They weren't even going to get in the red zone. And yeah, I know, we all know that. And so, yeah, we want to just keep saying that team shouldn't be favored. And if we do say that they're favored, it's just because, well, we got to do it for them because, we just got, they won. But it's not like my real analysis. It's just to kind of get those pesky Philadelphia Eagles fans off my back. Oh, you mean for them being right? You mean for them evaluating the situation correctly? There's a difference between Philadelphia Eagles fans and other fan bases. They have accurate understanding of what their team can and can't do. In 2023, you'd be hard-pressed to find a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans that said they're winning the Super Bowl. Yeah, of course you have people that are like, we're going to win and this, that. Of course, those always exist. You got Jacksonville Jaguars fans that are saying, next year we're winning the Super Bowl, okay? So those exist everywhere. But if you had some concerns about the Philadelphia Eagles in 2023, like the media, like the local media, the fans, etc., they shared it. It was out, they said it, yeah, this is concerning. I want to see Jalen Hurts play better. I want to see Nick Sirianni, etc., etc. They actually have like an honest conversation about their team. So when they have an insane belief and say, hey, this team's going to be great, this, it's largely based off of a reality and not fandom, especially because the Philadelphia local media does not gaslight them. They don't tell them next year or this year is going to be their year when it's really not. They don't tell them that they're going to build a dynasty just because it sells papers, if people are still buying papers. If they're saying, hey, we believe that there's a dynasty, it's because they actually believe it. So if you got Philadelphia Eagles fans on your back, it should kind of make you question. You should probably be like, this is a pretty educated fan base. Maybe if I could get past my own biases and move beyond me just calling them a bunch of clowns and fans and they threw snowballs at Santa Claus. Maybe when you can get past that and actually understand and respect and appreciate, you can get a little bit closer to the truth. I know. It's a wild thought. It's a wild thought that this quarterback, who played better than Patrick Mahomes in every level of the game, that his team that's on a great roster. Look at this, 86 to 58. Oh my goodness. That's crazy, man. Yards per attempt, 10 to 8. We know those yards are garbage. 77.3% completion percentage, 65. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That is, yeah, that's something special. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles being favored to win the Super Bowl, but not really? I guess Jalen Hurts not being good enough for this team to be considered a top Super Bowl contender because of Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson on a good team or something. I don't know. Maybe if they had really great coaching, I would totally buy that more. But like Sean McDermott, Harbaugh, okay. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do explain to me why the Philadelphia Eagles should not be favored, because I will be all up in the comments on this video. You better believe it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. And I forget if I already said this, but please do consider subscribing. We really are building an amazing community here, and it really is awesome, and I'd love to see you part of it. Thank you so much. See you next time.